Devin Moran shared exactly what he should not have done in order to beat Garrett Alberson during the Hillbilly 100 opener last night at Lernerville Speedway with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. Following a restart with 36 laps to go in the 40-lap feature, Jonathan Davenport looked like he would be the one to challenge Alberson for the lead as he worked his way past Ricky Thornton Jr. to claim the second spot and closed in on Alberson's bumper and maintained about a 2-car gap for a handful of laps as they started working through traffic. However, he was never really able to kind of mount a challenge. A caution would come out and the field would be re-racked with 26 laps to go for Tyler Erb. Davenport on the ensuing restart would then fight off a challenge by Ricky Thornton Jr. And by the time he got within striking distance of Alberson, the caution came out again, this time for Boom Briggs with 14 laps to go. On the ensuing restart, Davenport lost multiple positions to both Hudson O'Neal and Devin Moran. While Davenport was going backwards, Moran was moving forward. He had moved his way up to 5th from 8th before the restart, but quickly worked his way into 2nd, getting around Tim McCready, Hudson O'Neal, and Davenport on that first 2 laps following the restart. It was absolutely brilliant restart for Devin Moran. We can take a look at this right here. Obviously, you can see Moran started in that 3rd row on the outside of Tim McCready.
Green is back out. O'Neal gets the jump on Davenport into turn 1. Can he make it stick? He does. Out at 2. Down the back straightaway. On the outside, is that Moran? It is Moran.
So you can see there, just great restart, kind of working through the middle. Had a ton of grip there through the middle. Massive corner off speed and motored past both Davenport and Hudson O'Neal there down the backstretch. Really, really great restart for Devin Moran there, going from 5th to 2nd in, half a lap. Really, really great restart there. And that was with, 13, 14 laps to go. He would then track down. Alberson put his sights on him and would actually get kind of to his rear there. And with 8 laps to go, Moran was challenging Alberson for the lead, drawing beside him, coming out of turn 4, and then getting his nose in front of him, going through turns 1 and 2. However, by the time they exited turn 4, Alberson had gapped him by 3 or 4 car lengths and had brought his car from running the top of the track to the bottom and middle. After a couple laps of running towards the bottom and the middle, Alberson would go back to the top to finish out the race and bring home the checkered flag. We can see kind of here how Moran tried to challenge him here. This is going through 3 and 4 with 8 laps to go.
Through the middle, off at turn number 4, we got a race for the lead at Lernerville. Down the main straightaway, 7 to go, 58 to 99. Devin Moran, Garrett Alberson, down at turn number 2, down the back straightaway as the crowd senses it down the back straightaway to turn number 3. They'll have 6 to go. Now Alberson goes down low, Moran up top, tiptoes around the 3/8 mile oval, down the main straightaway.
So you can see there how Alberson clearly changed his line there, going through 3 and 4 there after Moran showed his nose there coming out of turn 2. And that would be it. I mean, Alberson would basically fend off Devin Moran, and Moran would not really be able to mount a challenge after that. And he actually discussed in his interview with Flow Racing that was one of the things he wished he did not do, and that would have potentially allowed him to beat Alberson. This is specifically what he said. He said to come here and start 8th and get to 2nd was awesome. Kudos to Garrett for running a great race. I thought I had a chance there in 1 and 2, and I showed my nose. I should have never showed my nose because once I did, he moved down for 3 or 4 laps and just messed up my momentum. They did a good job, and so did my guys. We've been working really hard, fighting through a lot of adversity this year, but they've just provided me with a really great race car here the last couple of weeks. So my guess is that he wished that he didn't kind of show his nose there through 1 and 2, maybe stayed kind of running behind Alberson there, maybe closing the gap a little more, and then throwing a slider and kind of catching Alberson a little bit unawares there and being able to get the pass done. Maybe a couple of laps later, and maybe he might have been able to pull that off. If he did, that would have been an absolutely fantastic finish. I thought it was a pretty good finish anyways, with Alberson obviously holding off Moran there. Obviously it held off Davenport a little earlier in the race as well, and then at the very beginning of the race he was holding off Ricky Thornton Jr. there. Alberson actually did say that's exactly what he was trying to do, though. In his own post-race interview, he said that he planned. That's what he actually planned. He said, kind of took a lane over there, and when you do that, you kind of try to break a guy's momentum. I hope I didn't crowd anybody too much. I just had to change the momentum a little bit and then get back to what I was doing, being a little bit more disciplined with what I was doing in 3 and 4, so I wouldn't lose my speed across the center. man, this is awesome. So he did that on purpose, obviously. It was a great race there. Good strategy, good driving to keep Moran behind him, and was able to break his momentum and kind of gap him there and keep that gap for the final laps and took home the win. So congratulations to Garrett Alberson on that win. A pretty solid race for the most part. I think they're a little bit more exciting, maybe a little bit further back in the field. I know Ricky Thornton Jr. had a bad restart at one point as well. He faded around back to like 5th or 6th. And I think he actually had gone back even a little bit further, and then he rallied back to get a 5th place finish. And then I don't even really know what happened with Davenport there on that final restart. Obviously, he was second. We saw him there get passed by Moran and Hudson O'Neal, but he eventually faded back all the way to 7th. So not exactly sure what happened with him. Clearly, there was some good racing there happening while Moran was challenging for the lead there that we just weren't able to get to see on Flow Racing. So it looked like if you're there in person, there was probably some solid racing, especially throughout the top 10. With the results of the Hillbilly 100 opener, the Big River Steel chase for the championship continued to tighten. Ricky Thornton Jr. extended his points lead with a 5th place finish. He now has a 20-point advantage over Jonathan Davenport, who fell to 7th on that final restart. As I said, Moran is 415 points behind, but he extended his gap over Hudson O'Neal and Brandon Shepard. He has a 25-point advantage over O'Neal now, who is in 4th. O'Neal ended up finishing in 3rd. O'Neal extended his advantage over Brandon Shepard with a 3rd place finish. He now has a 255-point advantage over Shepard. Meanwhile, Alberson, who is currently 6th in points, shaved off 40 points to O'Neal. He's only 295 points now out of that 4th position, which is that 4th and final playoff position, which we will see who it will be following the weekend at Knoxville, which is coming up here in a couple of weeks. So obviously really, really close here. It does look like it is kind of coming down to these top 6 here. I think Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport have kind of locked up their 2 spots. So it's really kind of between Devin Moran, Hudson O'Neal, Brandon Shepard, and Garrett Alberson. And obviously they're all running extraordinarily well. They all finished in the top 10. Alberson won, Moran was 2nd, Hudson O'Neal was 3rd, and Shepard was the worst out of all of them, but he still finished a top 10 in 8th. So, I mean, really, really tough competition here to see who will get into that 4th and final position. Obviously, you've got the Hillbilly 100 coming up tonight. We've got the races at Knoxville as well, and I think that's when we'll find out. Let me pull up the schedule here just to make sure I'm not misspeaking here, because I think it's where's the schedule here? Maybe it's events. Yeah, here it is under events. They should just say it's schedule. But yeah, we can see here that got to go down here into August and September. Yeah, so they've just got tonight's race, the Hillbilly 100, and then these 3 races here at Knoxville to determine who will be in that Final 4, because the 2 races at Brownstown obviously take place after Knoxville. I just wanted to make sure that was the case. That's what I thought, but I wanted to double check here. That's why I went over here. So that kind of chase for the championship will begin at Brownstown on September 26th after they have narrowed it down to the top 4 following the races here at Knoxville Raceway. And again, I think there is still plenty of opportunity for Garrett Alberson and Brandon Shepard to get in there, and it's going to come down to the wire to see who gets into that 4th position. And obviously, these guys are putting everything on the line, bringing out some of their best stuff as they come down to the wire. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens tonight, and then obviously out there at Knoxville. But let me know what you guys make of what Devin Moran had to say there on what he should not have done in order to beat Garrett Alberson. Let me know in the comments below.